And of course, the camera doesn't work. Give me 1 second, folks. Bear with me 1 second. All right, bear with me 1 second, folks. I am trying to get the camera to wake up and come back to life. Hey, there we go. Welcome on in, everybody. Sorry about that slight technical difficulty. I have no idea what that camera was doing. Bring it down a little bit there. There we go. Yeah, gotta love it when technology doesn't play well together. How's it going? How we do it? How's Down Under Maker? Hey, hey, hey. Morning, people. Brad, don't forget the thumbs up. Yep. Pro Steer remote. Exactly. We join in, and then the camera just doesn't work. Yeah, the picture was from the bench, so the main camera just kind of decided not to play today. How's it going, Matt Owl? Hey, Nick, how's it going? Hope everyone's doing well. You can't complain. Your computer skills involve my butt timing out people on YouTube on occasion. Oh, that's awesome, Howie. Hey, Timor, how's it going? Welcome on in. Hope everyone's having a good day. It is a better evening. So yesterday at some point, sorry, just random cat walking by. Yesterday afternoon at some point, the AC unit here at the shop stopped producing cold air. We left. I came back later on hoping that things would start cooling down as the sun went down, and it really did not. So I came in this morning, it was still pretty hot, so I had to jump on the phone and make some phone calls. Luckily, we were able to get somebody out today to look at the unit, and it was a blown capacitor, which is what I suspect. I suspect it was either the capacitor or the contactor, which are the two most common things that go out. Because we were still circulating air, we were just getting no cold air. And you have to be careful that you don't damage the compressor itself. So work was fair, but not good or bad. No complaints, you're guessing. Yeah, failed capacitor, yep. So a couple $100 later, we got that dealt with, but so be it. That's the cost of doing business sometimes. So yeah, that's kind of how the day went. So it's getting nice and chilly down here again. It's, we got the shop from being 85 degrees and about 56 to 58% humidity back down to, I think we're like 74 and somewhere around 40, mid 40s humidity, which is a lot better. I just tried to print with some ASA and That's going to go in the dryer overnight, and I'll start printing a part for a customer tomorrow. But today is all about the wheel, right? So it's all about the wheel. We're going to take the tires that came with it, with the kit, that have the foam inside. We're going to put the foam out, and by the end of the night, we're going to have a bunch of these fully assembled wheels with, you can't tell because this one is fully assembled. I did go through and fully assemble one and have a couple in different states just because I didn't want you to see a grown man cry on stream. Hey, Phantom, how's it going? How's it going? Yep. Are we reinventing the wheel? No, we're not reinventing the wheel. We're just assembling some wheels. When 3D printing people take over the world, I will be Lord of the HVAC. There you go. There you go. So yeah, how's it going, Eagle? Hope you're doing well. 491 Phantom, I just saw your DM over on Discord, and yeah, that's interesting. I heard some people in that post on Facebook that basically were bashing on the printer some, and then a lot of people were just bashing on the auction house itself and the auction process. But so not but and so Phantom sent me a post on Facebook about a auction site that is auctioning, sounded like liquidating assets, and I couldn't tell if it was Fusion 3, the company, that was going out of the business, or if somebody who owned a bunch of Fusion 3 stuff had gone out of business. There was a point during the index conversion I wanted to cry and ditch the Prusa off the 12-foot drop in front. I've had two guys with Bamboo H2Ss that tell me if they didn't have the money that they had in those printers, they would have been thrown out the window and busted. Like if they had paid enterprises for those printers, they would have been tossed by now. And I think I figured out what the potential issue may be on both of them. But there's a bunch of Fusion 3 printers that are up for sale. And like I said, I can't tell if it's the company that's going under, and I don't want to pull that part up. But it seems like it wasn't the F200, but it seemed like the printers looked more like these versions that were in the thing. Bryce has been liking his H2S, but his hot end cooling fan keeps dying. Huh. There's pallet jacks and shelves in that direction too. Pallet jacks and shelves. Yeah, the roll around carts that they had those printers on, like, not gonna lie, there was a lot of people saying like, where the hell did they get those carts from? Because yeah. I haven't looked into this too much. It would be one of those things I really need to see. Build volume 367, 367, 342. I mean, that's not a bad build volume. It still fits through a standard 36-inch door. I'm assuming not this way, but front to back ways, you know, turn it sideways and walk it through. Might be something to look into, but it depends. You know, I just have to look into it a bit. Hey, Liz, how's it going? How you doing? We're looking for a proper high temperature fan for the H2S. The H2D has an upgrade path to the better cooling fan of the H2C. There you go. So let me jump back over here. The main issue, so I've still got one H2S I'm looking at right now. It's been here once or twice before and it's back again. And this time, when it did the failure to feed after the extruder overload, it actually pushed the fitting out of the buffer, the orange buffer piece that's in the back of the interior of the printer. It pushed that piece out and like broke it. So he had to replace that. And apparently you have to take like half the panels off to get to everything you need there. But now that I've got a second machine in here, the second machine came in, I worked on it for a couple of days, could not recreate the error. Okay? Could not recreate the error. The individual asked me to replace the entire extruder regardless. So I replaced the entire extruder. May have ripped the filament runout sensor cable when I took the old extruder out, so I'm waiting for a new one to come in to give him his original extruder package back. But in the process, I realized something because I swapped the extruder, printed one of his files. Actually, I printed several of his files that he had previously sliced, had no issues. And I think here's the key point to this story. I was using official bamboo filament. Okay? No issues. The individual picks his printer up, takes it back home, gets it moved down into the basement, starts to run his print jobs, and almost immediately gets the extruder overload error. Okay, so what's the difference? Saw one of the old linear motor printers for sale on Facebook today. That would be the, not the Proton, it would be the Peopoli Magneto X. And I know that because there's the new Infomec, the forehead machine that just went up on Kickstarter. It's a Quad X. It also uses the magnetic linear motor printer. Do a credit check on the business that you will. Yeah, exactly. I can look into that down under. That's the only thing I can come up with, 491 Phantom, is filament. Both these individuals are using predominantly Sunlu filament. He was slicing it with the bamboo. And here's the thing, the bamboo H2 series, right? On the X, so I look at my Bamboo Studio for an X1 or a P1S, there's Sunlu profiles there. As soon as you jump to the H2 series, the Sunlu profiles go away. When you look at the Sunlu profiles and the bamboo profiles on the X1, the bamboo profile is set for a maximum flow rate of 21 cubic millimeters per second. The generic is 10 or 12 cubic millimeters per second. So I told him to slice it for generic and try again, and he texted me this morning. He took the error again, and using the generic filament profile. So now I'm wondering if it's out of spec, meaning the bamboo is a plus or minus 0.02 tolerance. Sunlu, I believe, is plus or minus 0.05. And here's the big kicker. There's one other thing that's different between the I'll call it the Gen 1, the P1, the X1, the A1, and the Gen 2, the H2, the P2, the X2D. Here's your extruder. I'm going to jump over to the other camera. Hey Maker Viking, how's it going? So here's the extruder assembly. Here's the extruder motor. Now the motor stops here, which means there's a whole bunch of other stuff here on the back. The Gen 2s are all using servo motors for the extruder. There's electronics in here, and on the front of this extruder, these two smaller screw holes here, there and there, hold a load cell. It is checking for, it does pressure advance and stuff based on the load cell data. It's a preemptive error message that the H series and the P2 and the X2 are going to throw because it's saying there's too much pressure or an anomalous pressure at that load cell going into the nozzle. There shouldn't be anything wrong. It should still print fine. It's going to throw an annoyance error. And that's why he says I can print this same file, same filament on my P1S and never take an error. Because it's trying to protect the servo motor by saying it's got too much pressure to it. And I want to cry. As a bamboo reseller, I want to cry because the customer has made the choice that they want to go with Sunlu versus bamboo filaments. Why? Because bamboo keeps running out of stock. They're doing certain files, they're looking for certain colors, and bamboo is constantly out of stock on their darn website for certain colors. So they go to another manufacturer where they can get the colors they want, and they get errors because of the frickin' touchiness of the motors they put in there and the sensors. Yeah, just using generic profiles should work. Should work. It doesn't. It throws the error still on the generic profile, which slows things down and is like half of the flow rate. So I don't know. It drives me insane. But anyhow, we are here today because it's all about wheels. We've got to turn 5 more of these from this stage to this stage. And it's going to be fun because there is 24 M2x16 screws on each tire. So there's a stack of foam here. I've already pulled the foam out of 5 of these and got the TPU inserts in. Okay, here's what we have to do. We either need to take the foam out, and you will see that there is a height difference there between the foam and this TPU. So you either need to cut the foam down. The problem is if you don't cut the foam down straight and parallel, you can cause wobbles. Okay, so I decided, I printed 6 of these anyhow, might as well do the inserts. So the issue we have is this is a very soft rubber, which means it's very grippy rubber. And you've got to come in here, and the easiest thing I've found is to fold, like just grab it with your finger and pull it in. right? Pull it in, kind of roll it up on itself, and start pulling it out. This rubber is grabbing that foam, so you just kind of have to make room and pull it out. And now, trying to get this in, once again, this is very grippy. It's very soft and pliable as well. So we're going to start by taking our wheel, squish it down, our wheel TPU insert for the wheel. There we go. And you're just going to try and start shoving it in there. And then when you have to, just start basically holding it in on itself to get it through the lip. And hey, Nick, or Jedi Spidey, how's it going? And then once you get it in there, just mess with it. And now it's fully in there. All right. So that's part one. Part two, and I've got this one prepped and ready, is we need to take this and get it down in the middle. If you can tell here, the TPU is a wider gap than this is, right? So once again, here's where grippy, stretchy. Get it going in the side. And just pull your finger up. And we're just going to basically manhandle it. We're going to roll that back, push it down. Pull it back, push it down. Pull it back. What we're trying to do is pull it back till we see that bead. And we want this lip at the edge of that bead. Just like that. And then we're going to have to push this back and around. So see how it's sitting on top of the plastic piece? So we're just going to kind of pull it around and get that bead right at the edge of the plastic piece like that. And now what I've done is I went around the outer 24 holes on here and drilled it out with a 2mm drill. Would a rubber mallet work, or am I overthinking it? Once again, the problem is this rubber is very grippy. So as you go to hammer that down, it's going to grab onto that rubber and pull it down with it. You have to actually pull the rubber out to the side to get it to sit down in that bead well right. Otherwise, you're just going to pull the tire down and you'll have that same issue where your beads are not in the right spot on the tire. So we've got two of them ready basically. Now we're going to take our M2x16, and this is why I drilled these out. So I can take one and put it through all the way, and that's going to give me the ability to line that up with one of the holes. Now you can line these up from the looking at it through that center hole. But what we're going to do is we're going to line one of these up, start screwing it in either by hand or by electric. I'm going to do one by hand. Start getting that down there, and then you're going to come straight across to the other side. And this is where you don't want to tighten it fully down, because you need to make sure that you line these up and that they're, get it in the right spot. You got to get these lined up. And it's just like everything else, right? We don't want to tighten it all the way down, but with two of these on opposite sides, now we just need to start going in the crisscross pattern. Trying to let this that one did not line up in the wheel well right. Ah, so see, I screwed something up. I got this in the wrong spot, which is throwing everything else off. That's the right one. Now there's 24, so basically we're doing, what, 6 holes, and then we just keep. Now that I have the 4 corners done, I'm going to go every other hole. And I'm not going all the way down just yet. I'm going to make sure that I'm getting everything in the right spot. Hey, Richard, how's it going? Welcome in. How's Las Vegas? I'm going to go out on a limb and probably say hot. Okay, so once again, these are not fully tightened down, but I'm just making sure that I am in alignment on all of those on the inside. Now we're going to do the same thing we did back here for this bead lock. We're just going to pull this back some all the way around. And make sure that it's locking around that bead. And now I'm going to do these, like I said, in a crossing moment. And once again, this is only half the screws. We'll come back and do the other half, and we'll just zip those all the way in. Just going to do the final tightening by hand on these. Yeah, it's hot, exactly. Your late beard, many demerits. Uh-oh. You're already getting demerits already? Oh, man. Yeah, I hope everyone's doing well. Bakersfield, Fresno. So how's it going, Spidey? Are you going to be stopping by the store soon? Once again, you definitely want an electric driver for this. Otherwise, you're going to have carpal tunnel on the first day. And there you go. We got 2 wheels done. I'd already put this one in off stream to make sure that I had a good technique. So we'll go ahead and get this one going. What's going on now? Once you get the 2 on the opposite ends, it becomes a lot easier to line everything up. All right, sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, we had a good maker meetup on Sunday. Lots of good conversations. We got a visit from Noah and Tony late in the day. And then, even though we were closed yesterday, we had a couple of regulars that came by and said, "Hey, are you at the shop?" I'm like, stupid question. Yes, I'm at the shop. And they're like, "All right, we're on the way." Like, thinking to myself, why are both of them coming? Because one of them needed the other person's car. They came and bought a Cheaty Max 4. So they needed to borrow the other person's car because they had actually hit a deer that day, and their car was no longer in a drivable state. Like, oh, well, that sucks. So, yeah. So we sold the printer yesterday, and then one of the 2 came back today to bring his printer, which used to be my old printer, my old Q2 in for to be looked at, and bought another Q2 so he can continue to print while the one was in for service. So I was like, okay. I mean, I'm not going to complain about it. And so they told us that the months that start with J are kind of the worst months of the year here in town for sales. And they mean it. And just to give you an idea, fourth day of the month, and I've got a third of my sales from last month already. So the good news is we make it through the summer and everything should be picking up with school starting back. Yeah, so January is really, really slow because of everybody that's, bought stuff at Christmas time. So January is pretty slow. And then June and July, all the kids are, they're all doing summer vacation stuff, right? So summer vacation or camps or what have you. So we're thinking next year we should have enough stuff in place that we'll be able to do a kids-based camp and do like a 2-week long 3D printing camp. So we'll go over and do like, we'll kind of go through all of our classes across that 2 week with the kids. So the basics of 3D printing, how to choose a 3D printer. Okay, now you got a 3D printer, now what? Basics of slicing. We'll go through and print some stuff off Maker World and stuff like that. And then Maker World printables, what have you. And then we'll go through some basic design classes with them in Tinkercad, help them design their first model and print it. And we're actually contemplating, like, do we price it in such a way that they get they go home with a printer at the end of it. And what would that printer be, right? Why choose one? Just get them all? Well, eventually. So some of these kids, their parents, I will say personally, are doing the right thing in teaching them that, the value of the 3D printer and how to save up your money for the 3D printer, but also that, okay, so you have a 3D printer, but it's just like having a car, right? You have to do maintenance on it. You have to buy consumables, filament, stuff like that. So some of the parents are trying to teach the kids that it's just not you went out and you got a 3D printer and miraculously it never runs out of filament like your gun on your favorite first-person shooter. Any updated timeline on the new Creator 5? I have not been giving shipment confirmation from FlashForge yet. However, I noticed yesterday that there are 10 UPS packages that are awaiting pickup, meaning the labels have been created. And the only thing that would be coming in 10 individual packages of the same weight would be the printers. Hey, Diablo Spawn, how's it going? Welcome in. So I plan on having Creator 5 and Creator 5 Pros in stock here in the store soon. We are doing pre-orders, so if you want to do a pre-order, it's 50% down. And then once they get here, it'd be 50% to pick it up. And if you decide between the time you put it down and the time, if you decide, no, this isn't the printer for me, I refund you that 50%. I don't keep any of it. Well, and I got news for you, Nick. One of them is getting opened up and is going to start producing. N+1 for printers, N+5 for filament. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Hey, Tinkering Techie, how's it going? Just jumped into the stream. Okay, so we have half of our wheels built. I did go ahead off stream, and 5 of them I had already pulled the foam out. It's basically you loop your finger in behind it, fold it in half, and then start basically folding it down in on itself, pull it out the side and get a good start. And this stuff is very, very soft rubber and sticky. So you got to kind of just work it out. And then same way with the TPU, basically fold it in half in your hand, get the end started, and then just keep trying to wad it up and get it in there. It doesn't matter what shape it's in when you get it in there. Just wad it up as much as you can to get it in there. And then just kind of do this number, and it'll pop out to shape into the tire. Same thing like these. I went ahead on the outer ring of all these before stream today and drilled them out with a 2mm drill bit so that the screws go in easier here. I did not tap these at all, so they're going to be cutting threads the whole way. And what we're going to do for these is kind of come in the side, lift this up, and kind of get it started all the way around. It's very stretchy, so we just keep stretching it around. And then eventually you can get it to where you line it up with the TPU entered and just push through. And then it's just a case of pulling that sidewall up so that you can get this seated down. So there's a bead on the tire, and you're trying to get this lip down in that bead well. So by pushing out, you're able to seat it down a little bit at a time. And you're just trying to make sure that you get it fully seated all the way around. And then once you're there, you're going to come over here and you're going to push this, same type of thing, out around that edge where it looks like that. Then we'll start putting one of these on. And in fact, we're just going to go around and get all of these set up now that I'm in here doing it. the nozzle blockers breaking. All right, so there's some, yeah, we will do an unboxing video when I get them here. I don't know if I'll probably do a pro unit. All right, so yeah, just take your time. Make sure you're getting your beads laid in there. Once again, I go through and I put a screw through there, and that helps me get lined up on the first one. Throw a couple of turns into it. And then you're going straight across for the second one. And it's kind of easy to line it up looking from the back side at the hole to make sure it's kind of concentric. And you can get it lined up on its hole. Start getting it tightened down. Having them thread into each part in a stack is going to cause a lot of stress on the threads if they don't get the screws started in each part at exactly the right time. Not sure what that's in relation to. Had them remove all the nozzle blockers and then it worked just fine. Flash forward to sending new ones. Gotcha. So good to note that that's going to be a sticking point to pay attention to. I don't know why I'm spending my time doing that, working on my carpal tunnel again. And I'm not tightening these down all the way. I'm just starting to get them close. Or come around and get all these started. Because we need to make sure that we get this bead pulled out on this side as well. Otherwise, we're clamping on the side of that tire bead, and we don't want to do that. We're going to make sure that we have one in every other hole. Okay, and then like I said, we're just going to pull up and out on that sidewall to make sure that we are not clamping that bead down between the two pieces. All right, now we just come in and fill the gaps. I am out of the M2x16s that I had bought ahead of time, so we are going to, wow, this is double bagged. Interesting. So we're going to get into the kits M2x16s. Borrow a catchphrase from A's cartoon, and knowing is half the battle. Yep. Yeah, it's, I'll be honest with you. I watched Doug, one of our friends of the Dragon Den here. I watched him do one because I asked him, I was like, how is this going to happen? And he just worked it in slowly but surely. And I was like, okay. So I'm probably not going to be that gentle with it, but okay. But Doug's been doing RC for quite a while, so. And because of Doug, we have some ASA Aero to play with. He told me, yeah, I need 3 rolls of ASA Aero for this project. I was like, okay, so I ordered 5, and he came and picked up his 3 and then handed 1 back to me. He said, this is for you to play with so you know how to print with it and stuff for anybody that asks. I'm like, oh, okay. And we had one of the Lee County sheriffs come in with one of the teachers from one of the local, we'll say, alternative schools. And they're going to be looking for 3D printers and stuff like that. And they're also going to have me come in and talk about like entrepreneurship and starting and owning a business, and kind of giving them a little bit of a talk about my background and how I came about setting up the business here. I was like, oh, well, that's going to be kind of cool. All right, 2, 3, number 4. All right. Don't know exactly when that's going to happen, but it's going to happen. Hey, thanks for the alert, Pezliz. I really do appreciate it. All right. And like I said, once you get the top and bottom, that kind of lines up everything else. We just basically go around and do every other hole. We're not going to tighten these down all the way because we need to get the tire out from underneath between the two pieces. We're just going to get them started. Every other one all the way around. Hey Pete, how's it going? Welcome on in. So we're all about the wheels tonight on stream. We're trying to get our wheels for the Unimog in place, making sure our beads are set right. Once we get that first one set in, now we can go around and do the other 12, no problem. Good luck speaking with students about your business and 3D printing. Thanks, Eagle. Yeah, I don't know how soon it'll be. I think it'll be after the first semester. So it'll probably be, I think it was later in September or October he was talking about. I think they're going to send an email to Mrs. Dragon. Got a lot on ATM. Hey, Mad Dog, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, it's been a heck of a week so far, and next week's going to be even more fun. The new vice president that we got aligned under is coming into town for 3 days next week, and they really want us in the office Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And I believe it's next Thursday. We may not be streaming because there's a mandatory fun event. And I may be tied up with that. All right. I feel like the first 3 of these, I need to go back and double check the bead lock on this again. I feel like I may have not done it as well as I did the other one. I'm going to back these off a bit. Yeah, I hadn't got the bead fully out on this side. Hey, Avia Bullseye, how's it going? Catching the stream again? Yeah. Hope you're doing well. We are working on all things wheels tonight, meaning we're trying to put together our wheels for the Unimog build. And since there's 6 of these, as I start doing them, I find out better tricks, and I go back and I go, I don't think I had that one done as well as I thought I did. Let me go fix it. We're trying to fully get the bead out between the 2 halves of the wheel. I'm distorting badly. Am I distorting badly, or is my beard getting in the way again? All right, I think we're good all the way around on this one. Think my beard? Probably. Miss Dragon's been on me to cut that down, so it may have to happen sooner than later. All right, that looks better now. Okay, just something the way that bead sits. Yeah, I got this one partially trapped over here. Yeah, these are pretty awesome tires, J3D CNC, aka John Doan. Hey, K. Fegley, how's it going? Am I planning on printing the aircraft that Titan 3D released? So, yeah, probably. So, I printed a lot of the Titan 3D stuff. I really like their stuff. Mrs. Dragon is currently printing the Goose because she wanted the Goose. And they just released a SR-71 and a B-2 stealth bomber model. Donut Dung. Did I say John Dung? So what we're trying to do is just make sure that the bead of the tire is fully pulled out and is not getting squished between the two halves of the printed part. and I just did not do a good enough job on the first couple of tires, so I'm redoing it. And making sure the bead is properly set. Looks a lot better. We'll do this one as well because I think it's not as well seated as it could be. And here, we'll take this and set this right here so that it picks up my voice, but it doesn't get caught under my chin while I'm standing here. Gotcha, John. However, going through and doing this, I now have more respect for those heavy truck mechanics. Awful lot of screws on these. We haven't even gotten to mounting them yet on the vehicle, where there's going to be another 12 studs that we have to put bolts on. Really had the bead pulled. This one. Better now. Hey Kenneth, how's it going? Doing good today? We're having a really good time today. What do I think the total build time is for this? A lot. I mean, to get it mechanically going and basic build with the cab, we're probably looking at somewhere between 20 and 30 hours of build time. It's a ton. Just realize I'm sitting here and this thing is looking at me, and there you go. All right. Yeah, like I said, it all depends on how quick you are, how good you are at following instructions, whether you're doing it with family and friends. This is not a Saturday night with a couple of beers build. At the end of the stream, I will be tired. Yeah. Yeah, perfect answer. It's going to be a while. Like I said, there's a ton of screws. If you're organized like DeWitt's building a Unimog as well, and he's got every build plate of parts went in a separate baggie. So he didn't have that issue that I had where I put the wrong portal axles with the wrong axle, right? And then had to take that back apart and swap some parts out with the correct axle. So I mean, little things like that are gotchas that will require you to go back and do some rework. Not the end of the world, but it does take some additional time. At the end of the stream, you will be, yeah. I think I was tired at the beginning of the stream, to be honest with you. But like I said, we were at like 85 degrees and 50 something percent humidity in the shop until they got the AC squared away. Then that made life a little bit better, but by that point I was still pretty exhausted just from the heat and stuff. All right, so now let's make sure that we pull that bead out. Now we have everything started and about 2/3 of the way snug down. We can pull this bead out, catch it on the side. Trying to take my time this time so I don't cause myself rework. I think we're good. The little poofy edge that I was looking for. So is anybody else doing any fun projects? I know Spidey's done some really cool projects lately with the Marvel Comics. All right. We have 6 wheels done. That was a lot. So got all 6 wheels done, or 4 if you're doing the 4x4. Now it's going to talk about installing the wheels, taking the time to align the wheel to the studs. Okay. Price to pay to have a good centering. Yes. I will tell you this. There is very little room in here around that rock shield. So when you're putting this on, you need to make sure that you're lined up 100%. Not doing that tonight. And the reason we're not doing that tonight is let you in on a secret. I still haven't done the steering calibration yet. So we still need to do that. I need to read up on that. I'll probably have Evil Diesel or Doug or somebody walk through it with me. So you have a 3-foot tall Space Marine you still need to glue together. Then another 6 months to find the motivation to paint it. There you go. There you go. Printing 30 unicorns for Mini Maker's birthday party gift bags. There you go. Index is earning its keep. Well, after the pain it puts you through, it needs to earn its keep. Really does need to. You're doing the Titan Halloween Totem right now. Awesome, Spidey. Let me know how that goes. We did get the files. We are going to start printing some of those here for the store. So yeah, let me know how those go. And are those like the other Titan stuff where they print in individual pieces and you put them together? Or are they print in place with all the color changes? You also have Index Dev Kit in the mail, so you'll have to figure out getting that onto the 2.4. Yeah. Yeah. So, Avia, I've talked to Noah 2 or 3 times. And when they came out on Sunday, him and Tony, they forgot to bring the leaflet. So if you can yell at them for me, I really need it because I'm completely out now. Completely out. And people are asking about refills. Yeah, just like the other. Okay, and how big are they? Like, is it small or is it going to be like that? Just curious. Not that it matters. We'll still work on it. Yeah, so we will install the tires. He made more specifically for you. I know. And then he ran off and left them when they came out. You started from the bottom head and you're on the 3rd one, 3 more to go. Awesome. Tinkering Techie. Printing parts to convert your box turtle to have 4 separate lanes going to individual tool heads. N3MI came up with a nice solution for an embedded turtleneck buffer built into the rear skirt. Yes, I believe I did see that. So yeah, when we go to install these, we will line these up on the inner portal axle, and we will be putting little M2 nuts on there, which is why we have the 4 mm hex ring, is to put on the nuts. Now it says M2 nuts. I know I have both M2 and M2, oh wait, let me double check. Okay, so I have both black and silver or stainless steel locking nuts. So I don't have any plain nuts, they're all lock nuts. So where this shows like standard nuts, we will be putting lock nuts on there, which is good. We'll most likely use the black ones just to stay with the theme. Tighten these you definitely want to tighten in the diagonal or crossing pattern. We'll have to do that on all 6 wheels, wheels complete, cabin assembly. So as you know, I built a cab, and we're going to build another one. So we can go ahead and get 2946. Make some room here, and we'll start working on the cab because I have a whole second cab built and ready to go. What do I have on the other side? So let me, that there. We go. Got parts. So we did one of these already, but we're going to do another one, and this one's going to be in matte PETG khaki from our good friends over at EPAX. You're looking at 800 grams plus for the heads unless you go low wall and low infill. I tend to just use exactly what they say. Like I just open their 3MF and set it up for whichever printer I'm going to do. So we're going to take some of our little 4-way pieces. Get those started. These are going to be M2 by 8. But yeah, I know that that he had done them specifically for us. I just need to get them here so I can actually sell them because they're selling pretty well. All right, so one on each side. It tells you to do one. Then, hey, do it for the other side too. So we got both of them on there. And now we're going to do some little black pieces. And I'm going to talk to you about these little black pieces. Right, I can find. dash seats, material. There we go. So, if you get these two parts here in the wrong orientation, you can swap them. Take the back panel off, you take the driver's side and passenger side seat out, you take the floorboards off, and then you can get in there with your little screw here and unscrew these. So we're looking at it from this way, and you want this little wing edge to the inside, right? And here's the kicker, and it's really hard to tell from the orientation on these pictures. So this arrow is on the back side, meaning when you mount this, you see how that is going forward? These need to be angled forward towards the front of the cab. You mount it, I'll say like this, where this is going towards the back of the cab, it will not line up with the mounts. It needs to go towards the front. So this one is going to go on this side. This one go on that side. Arrow's pointing outward, and the angle is going towards the front of the cab. And 2x12. 8. There because 16 is about to overflow. Just a good public service announcement. I don't see instructions that say drop it down to 4% infill. It was at 10. Well, could have said, yeah. Most of the Titan 3D stuff is, I think, 3 walls and 4% infill, or 2 walls and 4% infill. Yeah. Good shot to make a trip down this weekend. You wanted to last weekend, but Waters and Tony never told me what time they were heading to the shop. Well, yeah, they got here at like 6:30 p.m. and they stayed for about an hour. Okay, so front of the cab, back of the cab, once again, both of these going to be angling towards the front of the cab. You will see the arrows on either side pointing outward. Little wing in here. So this little wing rests on the mount, and then it's going to screw in from the sides. Instructions are for suckers anyway. Yeah, and I'll see, Miss Dragon and Evil Diesel are supposed to go to Greenville tomorrow. to help the NCATP folks set up their printers and, you know, all that good stuff. So we'll see. They may be able to stop by and meet somebody tomorrow on their way back. If things align. If not, then yeah, it'd be great if somebody could bring some down. These are M2 by 10 and they are reinforcing screws. Okay. And this just kind of sits off to the side for a moment, and we need door jambs. And pillar pieces. 4 M2 by 10s. Hey, Daddy Wazzy, how's it going? So which one are we looking at? We're going to be looking at this one. So we've got the cutout here, the inner piece, and then the door frame here. And that's going to go into flat piece side. Line this up with the holes, and we'll put in an M2 by 10. Two of them. Be that. Oh my God, hands work. Just got home from work. It was a long day. I'd say so. Okay, so we just did this one. We're going to go ahead and do the other one since we know what size screws and everything we're going to need. So we got all 6 of our wheels assembled tonight. We're going to install those on the Unimog, but I need to validate the steering geometry first. And once I do that, which I'm probably going to do off screen because it's me. I'm going to need some help probably. Ring verts to convert your, hey, K Fegley. With the 2 there, we're going to use some M2 by 16s, which are longer ones here. And we're going to need a couple of our little door hinge. Right? And it's going to drop down into the cutout. We'll use an M2 by 16. One side closed, get the other side going in. And once again, we've learned when we do it on one side, go ahead and do the other side at the same time. Saves you some pain. When I said door hinge, I actually think this is the door latch. It's actually what the door closed. I put some little handrails on. Question is it loose in here? Is it in the plan right? Or, oh, yep, there. We've got our oh-shit handles. And 2x8s. How many screws are used in this build? Well, Diablo Spawn, a lot. The pack of M16, or excuse me, yeah, the pack of the M2 16 screws, I think was like 560 something. So yeah, it's crazy. There's a crazy amount of screws. And the reason we're able to build a second cab here is because the first cab that I built, I self-sourced my own screws for it. So we're actually still using the screws that are in the kit now to build this second cab. Hey, look, now we're repeating that subassembly for the other side. This would be why we were doing it at the same time. Now we're going to mount that on this section here where we've got the other two screws at. So I'm going to line up just like that and mount in. B-pillar section goes in with them 2x8s. So one side in, I'm going to go ahead and do the other side now. Ready? Need an M2 by 8. I'm going to come in at the front side here. Then we're going to add a couple of more plates. This will be the prep for doing another piece. So these are 2x8s again. Okay. Yeah, there is a freaking ton of screws in this. Went ahead and did both sides just to make sure. These two pieces here. And using our hinge piece. They have to be going in the right way. So the pin on it is offset. So we need the flat side in on this door piece when we're doing it. And 2x6s this time around. These will be door hinges. We thought this Cosmic Peach from Pex Peppers was going to be mild. Too much on my ramen noodles and you're sweating now. Yeah, Pex Peppers has some really good hot sauces. I tried the habanero salsa when I got a test batch. Didn't even think twice about it. Grabbed a whole tablespoonful of it and ate it right when I got it. Not a wise decision. Not a wise decision. All right, now we're going to need 3 of the M2x8. Hey, GTR Dad, how are you doing today? Hopefully doing well. putting in 3 of these. Should say 2 plates, 3 screws each. All right. Sides. Now we need firewall piece. Firewall piece. Firewall piece. Is hot of parts in this build. It is well worth the file. 2x8, 4, and you're going through we're going through this hole, do that on both sides. The raised holes will be a different mount. We just need to make sure that we're getting the right this one, and we're making sure we're getting through the right holes, so we're going through these 2. Should tell me to do 5. Yes. Hey, Big Jano, what's up? You gotta remember to get your free bottle from West 3D one of these times. Thank you for the resubscribe there, Jedi Spidey, and also for Big Jano. Appreciate that. Timor resubscribed as well days ago, but thank you. You won't waste food, but I'm eating a lot slower. Oh, I had when I was in Alaska, some of the guys in the unit I was with up there, we went out and got Thai food, and they asked me when I was ordering, "Do you want hot or not?" I said, "I want hot." They go, you want Thai hot or American hot? I was like, I'm in a Thai restaurant. Give me Thai hot. What, like what? And I knew better when the guy started snickering. I had 2 bites and I didn't taste the rest of my meal. And I eat about half of it. I chewed down about half of it. Good God Almighty. I made him pay for it though. I made him pay for it. We were a small unit and had a small unit, small office space. I made him pay. All right, so we're gonna hold our piece like this. This is the firewall, and our arrow is gonna be facing up when we put this in place. So arrow facing up. Yeah, everybody, please remember we do have merch and everything. Oh, and hey, Mike, how's it going? Chromatic C, how's it going? Let's see. So we got this piece now. This side, and it wants us to put in this piece. Oh, is this the window trim? Upright. Is that? That's what we're. That one and its sister, which is that piece. That piece. Okay. Plant from inside out. We're gonna have 1, 2, 3, and 4 here. Go on one side, and it's gonna just sit down in there nicely. So, and M2 by 16 through these 2 holes up here. Once again, the plan for this is to have 2 separate setups. So I'll have one cab, which is the one I've already built with the flatbed, and then I'll have this cab with the camper shell in this khaki color, and the interior will be dark gray like the other one, and instead of bone white, it'll be latte brown. We're going to need the front seals and the top of the roof. So this is the, this will be the front of the cab or the top of the window. So this will be the outside, this will be the inside, so that groove's there. Have that. And I did the one piece window. The inside. There we go. Found it. All right. So we've got our inside piece, and we'll have this. This is the one piece window trim. So rather than do the two pieces, which is what I did on the first one, this one's going to sit right down in there. This has the gap, so flat on this side, which is where the window pane's going to go. So the blade edge here is going to sit right up in there. Put the windshield, window pieces are still here. There will be protective film on both sides of these window sheets, so sure to take that off of both sides. Apparently it's going to be easier said than done. There. One side peeled. Try not to get fingerprints all over it as you get the second side started. And lay that right on top. It's a lot better cut than the one that I did. That's for sure. And then we're going to put our window frame assembly on. Now, once again, I printed the one piece this go around, and the way this goes in there, flat side is facing up. So this flat edge is going to press against the window, and this is going to go over it into that top like that, in 2x6. Down in there, so there is the window assembly, and yes, everything can move out and about still right now. Okay. Now we're going to add the top piece. So I'm going to flip this back over. Going to be these two L-shaped pieces here, and we're going to be using this shorter edge. And we've got these little divots in here. These are going over the top of those screws. So it'll almost act like an alignment jig for us. And we're going to make sure that we get it on the right side. This is not the top. This piece here is the top. So that groove there, sure that it's in the right way. Otherwise, your holes up here won't line up. The 2x10s. And as before, I'm going to go ahead and do this next one as well. May not tell us to do it just yet, but the manual does have a tendency to tell us to do like 4 steps and then say, now do that for the other side as well. Which makes it lots of fun when those 4 steps involve different screws and different parts. So. We're just going to keep going and make everything symmetrical as we go. You stream tonight, Jano? All right, now we need those. One. Okay, looks like this orientation. Down here at the bottom, we're going to put some more of our hinges. These are going to be M2x6. Working on other projects tonight? That's good. Once again, when you do these, make sure that you're putting the flat edge up against the part so that your hinge sticks out. Do this on both sides. And other than some, I'll say, quirks with the manual as far as order of operation stuff, these parts are amazing, and the way everything has gone together has been utterly amazing. 582 plus parts, yes. A lot of printing, and on top of that, I am printing the Overland Camper, which is going to add even more to the printing. This is going to be a gray accent piece. Here we go. Dark gray accent pieces. Okay, so you got to be careful here and look at the part and the edge and the way it goes. You want the part that is wrapping around that edge. What we're going to use, we need M2 by 6. From there still. So the base build of this, I used 7 printers. I had a Q2C doing PLA parts. I had a Q2 doing PLA parts, a Q2 doing the PET CF parts. I had the Kitty Plus 4 doing the original cab body panels, so the stuff that was in the metal oxide green. And then the Max 4 was doing all of the nylon parts for all the gears in the housing. Okay, we're going to blow this up a bit. Okay, so the trim piece is on the inside up against the window. We're just going to set those there. So the trim piece comes up here, lines up on the window, and we are M2 by 16 through the second hole. Okay, there's the inner window trims. Both sides. Now we're going to add these two pieces together. So I need to take my window piece and slide it back in there. Window piece back in there. And our trim piece here. Like so. And then we're going to join this on this side. So, and 2x10 down at the base. And we're going to flip this over and we're going to go nuts with a bunch of M2x6s all the way around the frame. 10 of them to be exact. Go on each side. All right. This is about to die, so we'll plug that in to a battery. Keep it from dying. Hey, Esrona, how's it going? Long time no see. Hey, VGC Derek, how's it going? Welcome on in. Thank you for the raid of a party of 5. Is my sister from another mister there, aka Westry One? Hope you are doing good. How was your stream tonight? What were you streaming this evening? She was, but she may be in bed. Ah, gotcha. Yeah, I should probably do that. What time is it? 10:40? Got just some Randy Crafty stuff. Did some watercolor and some vinyl decals. Nice. Nice. So we're working on our Unimog build, which is a heavy truck 6x6 RC vehicle. It's basically a meter long end to end. And yeah, so we've been working on that. And this is the cab that we're putting together right now. We've got the frame, the suspension, and all that together. We did 6 tires tonight and got those put together. And to give you an indication of how big this will be, once again, think heavy truck, kind of military. So here are the tires. So full hand. There's 24 screws all the way around that are holding the 2 hub pieces together. Inside of this rubber tire, we took the foam that comes with it out, and there are TPU printed inserts in here that will give it some life and some spring. And then when we go to mount this on the frame, there's screws on the hubs that will come through these inner ring holes here, and we'll tighten down into locking nuts. There will be a dozen on each wheel. So just to give you an idea of the size of this, it's pretty massive. We're having fun. I've already built one cab, and there's a couple of ways you can build this. You can build it as a 4x4 or a 6x6. We did the 6x6. There is a cab and flatbed option, and then there's a cab and an overland option, which basically has a camper. Once again, you can build that camper for the 4x4 frame size or the 6x6. So I've been in the process of, now that I got the second cab printed out, I'm starting to build or print the overland camper. So that's going to be the front window there. Now we're going to put the 2 frame halves together. I'm going to do that like this. Easier to line things up. And right, you want M2x6 from the top, M2x8s from the bottom. We're going to do those first since I have it sitting on its. Yeah, this Fantech screwdriver has been a lifesaver. Trying to do this, all these screws by hand would really suck. Here's the first 2. Going to be one left at this point, or this joint. Two down at the bottom. And then we'll have 1, 2, 3 on this side. Now we're going to set this down and we're going to come back up this last step. There's 3 M2 by 16, 1, 2, 3. So start from the back and go forward. I got another one in my hand. I think my battery on my Fantech is dying. Yes, so it's got 6 settings as far as the torque. I've been at the 1 Newton meter, but you can go half to 6. And it does have the light that comes on as soon as you start throwing something in, so that helps a ton. Okay. The ones underneath those. Now we're going to build this fun little mechanism. I can find the little parts. Need these turnbuckles. There's 2 different types. And these longer pieces. Okay. So you need to be cognizant and careful on here of which one you're putting where. Looks like the little dumbbell that does not have the slit. So we've got a small dumbbell, a little bit longer one that has a slit in the using this one. And it's got some built-in, we'll say, like washer to it. So and we're going to do this by hand. It says do not tighten too much this screw. We're going to tie this or screw this in by hand. Needs to be able to move freely. You bought a Hoto that I believe is, yeah, I have a Hoto as well. It depends, like the Hoto, Some of the drivers that I had wouldn't fit on it for the smaller stuff. So, and then I have a smaller one that Creality gave us that's about useless. It won't even drive these M2 screws. Bought yours for doing the mod build, for doing all the different milestones with it. Yeah. Housework took over and you're stopping work on it. That happens. That does happen. All right, now from the other side, you'll notice we'll use the one with the split. We're going into the front hole of that piece. Once again, we're going to do this by hand and not use the electric screwdriver. That piece works well. Okay. So now we're going to prepare another one, but make sure that it is completely mirrored. So we're going to look at this one, and the short one is on the right side. So on the next one, the short one's going to be coming in from the left side. I'm going to turn this around. The rear of the long piece, the short one. Other one coming in, call it the inside from the way that. All right, so there's our two hinges. These are the hinges for the hood, bonnet, whatever you want to call them. We'll need these pieces, not just. Need these pieces. One that we're looking for, and we're going to mount the other half of these screws in here. We want the short outside one will go on the more recessed hole back here, and then the longer one will go there. Again, M2 by 8s. That's that mechanism. Articulating hinge. So we did that on one side. We're going to just now replicate it on the other side. Again, the shorter of the two goes to the recessed one in the back. Maybe. You don't really want these wiggling side to side, but you don't want them so tight that they won't be able to articulate either. All right. There's our 2 hinge brackets. Need an M2 by 30. Now, this is where we would normally be using some grease. I will need to grab some grease. In this pocket here, we want the flat side out here, so these 2 pockets will meet up like so. Make that pocket there. Pocket that the shocks will go into later on. M2 by 30 down here. The way my little grease thing, what I'm going to do is just end in. That's just helping it cut the threads. And then M3 by 20 up here. All right, I'm going to do the same thing over on this side. Again, a 30 down here at the base. That in, get a little bit of grease on it. And then 3 and 3 by 20s. All right. Well, yeah, that's what I like about this one is it has the different torque settings. So we've got left and a right. These are going to get mounted with some M2 by 12 screws. Fit for grease for. And these are getting mounted through these little holes in the tabs here. And I'm going to go in these two holes right here, right here. That side, will come here. Being careful, and we don't want to over torque these because we can strip these out pretty easily. Time is 11 p.m. Eastern time. You need to rest your body and head for the next day. Thank you, Eagle. I think we are getting close to a stopping point. M2 by 8 up at the top. Right next to that hinge. One there. And here. And like I said, I think we're going to come to a stopping point, M2 by 25 in the long there. Okay. Repeat for the other side. Pay attention to the hinge assembly. And that's the stopping point. So we got our 6 wheels put together. We've got a good portion put together on our cab to include our front windscreen there. We got our front windscreen in place as well, making pretty good dent on that. Move those small pieces there. When we come back on Thursday, we will continue working on this. We're going to start doing the headliner and starting to close in the top part here. Put in some bottom panels and everything. But yeah, I think we're doing good. Made a lot of good progress. And I think we're going to call it a night, folks. Like my brother-in-law Eagle said, it's 11 p.m. I need to get home and get some rest and get back in here tomorrow because it's just going to be me here in the shop doing double duty because Evil Diesel and Mrs. Dragon will be out visiting a customer and helping them do some setup with their bamboo printers. So thank you everyone for being here. Thank you so much for the raids over on Twitch. You all are awesome. And I will see you all on Thursday night. Bye now.